There's a silence you've carried, beloved, that even the world around you hasn't noticed. A silence that doesn't echo in sound, but reverberates in the quiet ache of your soul. The kind of ache that no conversation, no hug, no passing smile has been able to reach. And yet, in the stillness of that void, in the hollow place where your heart whispers, "Does anyone really see me?" I, Jesus, have been closer than the thoughts you dared not speak aloud, watching you wander through days that felt like they held no one, listening as your prayers started to sound like broken records rather than bold declarations. And even as your faith dimmed beneath the weight of your waiting, I never left, not for a moment, not for a heartbeat. I saw how you walked into rooms full of people and still felt like a shadow. How you smiled just enough to be left alone, but not enough to feel. Seeing how you curled into bed at night and reached for a light that seemed to vanish the more you needed it. And I want you to know, I counted every one of those moments, not to condemn you, but to prove to you that even when it felt like no one was watching, I was memorizing your tears like sacred ink on the pages of heaven, preparing to answer the cry you thought had been ignored. And now I whisper to you with the tenderness of a Savior who has waited patiently for this moment. Your loneliness is not your destiny. It was your wilderness, but now the winds are shifting and the angels are gathering, and the time of isolation is coming to an end, because I am sending connection, divine connection, not made from shallow bonds or forced companionship, but from the kind of soul alignment that only heaven can orchestrate, the kind that doesn't just touch your heart but knows your spirit, the kind that brings laughter where there was once numbness, warmth where there was once cold, and presence where there was once absence. You must understand, child, your loneliness was never a punishment. It was a preparation, a divine cocoon where I shielded you from counterfeit connections so that you would not miss the sacred ones. Because had I allowed you to be surrounded by those who did not honor your soul, you would have accepted their presence as a substitute for purpose. But I love you too much to let you settle. So I allowed the emptiness to protect you from entanglements that would have cost you your calling. And though the weight bruised you, it did not break you. And what's about to arrive will not only restore what you lost, but will reveal why you had to lose it. So hear me now with more clarity than ever. Divine connection is not delayed. It is descending at the hour appointed in a way you could never predict. And when it comes, you will know it was me. Because the love will feel like sunlight breaking through years of cloudy skies, like prayer finally becoming reality, like someone reaching into the quiet parts of you and saying, "I see you, all of you," and meaning it with a purity this world rarely offers. So hold on, beloved, just a little longer, because you are not forgotten. You are being positioned. And what you thought was an ache will soon be an answered prayer wrapped in human form, ordained, anointed, and sent just for you. You may not realize it, but even as you walk through your ordinary days feeling unseen and untouched by true companionship, heaven has been moving pieces behind the veil with an intentionality so divine that if you saw even a glimpse of what was being orchestrated on your behalf, your knees would hit the ground in awe and your spirit would tremble with praise. Because this has never been about you being forgotten. It's been about you being chosen for something too sacred to be rushed, too holy, to be handed over casually. And while others have filled their lives with noise, distractions, and fleeting affections, I've been drawing you deeper into the silence, not to punish you, but to position you to recognize what is real, to separate your soul from counterfeit ties that only mimic connection, so that when the one I've appointed arrives, whether in friendship, purpose-aligned partnership, or the kind of soul companion that stirs even the deepest waters of your being, you will know, without hesitation, that this was not a coincidence, but a covenant. And I know the nights have stretched long, and the mornings have greeted you with a heaviness that makes even breathing feel like a task. But I am here to remind you that your sorrow has not gone unnoticed, and your waiting has not been wasted. In fact, every moment you spent crying out to me in the dark, I was storing up the very answers you would one day call miracles. And now, the spiritual climate around you is shifting. The winds are changing, and what has felt like delay is about to erupt into divine alignment. For I have seen the people who misunderstood you, who underestimated the power inside you, who walked away not realizing they were exiting the life of someone anointed, someone appointed, someone preserved by heaven's hand. And I allowed that rejection not to hurt you, but to protect you. Because if I had let those who didn't honor your soul remain, they would have drained the very light I planted within you. And so instead, I pulled you into isolation, not as exile, but as incubation. For what you're carrying is rare, and not everyone can walk beside someone with a calling as weighty as yours. And now, the loneliness you thought would never end is being reversed, and you will be flooded with divine appointments, unexpected encounters, spiritual alignments that seem to fall into your path like falling stars catching flame. And you will look back at the season of emptiness and see that it was the soil where I planted the seeds of the destiny that is now blossoming. You are not alone. You've never been. Not even for a second, even when you sat at the edge of your bed staring at nothing, hoping for something. I was there, arms around you, whispering life into your spirit, holding your heart in my hands, and promising myself that I would not allow your season of loneliness to go unanswered. And now, I tell you, this is the hour where things begin to shift, where doors open not just in the physical realm, but in the spiritual, where the veil is lifted and the connections I've kept hidden for the appointed time begin to emerge like morning light breaking through fog. Do not doubt this. Do not dismiss the small nudges, the sudden opportunities, the unexpected people drawn to your path, because I'm sending confirmation over and over in ways you cannot miss. And when the moment arrives, when the soul I've chosen to walk beside you finds you, you will recognize them not by appearance, but by presence, not by words, but by how your spirit exhales in their nearness, because I made you for connection, not just with others, but with me, and I'm drawing both into your life now, like rivers converging into one sacred stream. So lift your head, child, for the loneliness is ending and the divine appointment is approaching. There are moments in life when the silence becomes so loud, it echoes through your chest like a hollow wind. Moments when you begin to wonder if heaven has gone quiet on you, if your prayers disappeared into the sky like smoke rising from a flame no one saw you light. But I am telling you now, those moments were not empty. They were sacred. For even in your loneliness, my presence never departed. And now that your spirit has been refined through the fire of isolation, the time has come for what was promised to rise, not as a faint whisper of hope, but as a roar of undeniable manifestation that will pour into your life like oil flowing from an eternal well that can never run dry. And I know Beloved, you've grown weary of holding on, of pretending to be okay when inside you've been battling the ache of disconnection, the void left by broken bonds, by people who once claimed to understand your heart, but only saw pieces of your potential and mistook your depth for neediness, your compassion for weakness. But I saw every moment they overlooked you. I recorded every tear you cried in silence, and I have stored every ounce of your patience like treasure in heaven, preparing to return it to you in a form so divine that when it arrives, you will know with absolute certainty that it was worth every quiet night, every unanswered message, every gathering you walked away from feeling like a stranger in a crowd. Because what I am bringing into your life is not just someone to sit beside you. It is someone whose soul speaks the same heavenly frequency as yours. Someone who won't need you to explain your light because they were born to reflect it back. Someone whose spirit was molded in the same divine fire that shaped yours. And they will not be threatened by your calling, but moved by it. Not confused by your depth, but comforted by it, because their soul has also walked through the valley. And I have prepared them just as I have prepared you. This is not a surface level union. This is heaven weaving two stories together for a mission greater than comfort. It is about calling, about kingdom alignment, about building something eternal through a connection that reflects my love. And whether this is the reuniting of a past soul or the sudden appearance of a stranger who feels like home, trust this. It will be undeniable, unmistakable, and unstoppable, for I am the one writing this story. And no delay, no rejection, no false connection that came before can cancel what I have destined. You may feel exhausted now, like the waiting has worn you thin and the loneliness has stretched your hope to the point of breaking. But even in that, I am whispering, I am surrounding you with signs and nudges, waking you up at specific times, showing you names, repeating words in your dreams, aligning your spirit to the frequency of what's coming, because your next chapter will not be lived alone. And you're not crazy for feeling something shifting in the atmosphere. Around you, that's the sound of chains breaking, of isolation lifting, of divine union drawing near. And it's coming quicker than you think. I just needed to pull you aside long enough to heal what others overlooked, to strengthen what others try to break. And now that you've been hidden long enough to be holy, I will bring into your life someone who will not distract you from your path, but walk beside you on it with reverence. Someone who will love you not for what you offer, but for who you are when everything is quiet and real and raw. And when that moment arrives, you'll understand why I had to keep you to myself for a while. Why I had to allow certain doors to close, certain people to vanish without explanation. Because what's coming is not just love, it's purpose. And your soul will feel like a wave of recognition crashing over you. And you'll finally breathe in a connection that doesn't leave you feeling emptied, but expands your spirit into something infinite and whole. And now, child of heaven, as the final veil lifts and the loneliness that once felt like a permanent echo begins to dissolve into the light I have prepared for you, I need you to understand just how close you are to the moment that will change everything. Because your soul didn't endure the wilderness, the silence, the aching stillness for no reason. No. Every moment you spent crying out in the dark when no one answered was a seed planted in sacred ground. And I have watched over each one, watering them with grace, protecting them with angels, And now those seeds are about to burst forth into the kind of harvest that will make you forget the sorrow. Not because the past didn't matter, but because what I'm doing next will be so miraculous that it will redeem every second of waiting. You have no idea the orchestration happening around you right now. The divine conversations, the hearts I'm shifting, the people I'm positioning, the sudden detours I'm creating to make sure that when the appointed moment arrives, you are aligned in body, mind, and spirit to receive it without fear, without resistance, without missing the magnitude of what I've been preparing behind the scenes. And this is not just about companionship. This is about divine destiny, about calling, about spiritual chemistry that cannot be replicated, imitated, or substituted by anything less than what I ordained before time began. I allowed you to walk through seasons of abandonment, not because you were unlovable, but because you were being sanctified, carved into something too sacred for the ordinary. And now that you have chosen me in your pain, now that you have clung to your faith when the silence was unbearable, I will honor you in a way that shakes the very ground you stand on. Doors will open without knocking. Names will be spoken in rooms you've never entered. Hearts will be drawn to you not by your effort, but by my spirit that now shines so brightly from within you that those sent by me will recognize it instantly like a lighthouse on a stormy sea. This connection you're about to experience won't just soothe your loneliness. It will awaken your purpose. It will energize your calling. It will unlock gifts in you that you buried under disappointment and weariness. And the person I am sending is not coming to fix you because you're not broken. They're coming to stand beside you as a mirror, a reflection of the divine work I've done inside your soul. And together you will create something eternal, not just in love, but an impact in healing, in kingdom influence that stretches far beyond what your eyes can currently see. And I know it's hard to keep trusting when all you've known lately is delay, but even delay is divine when it is under my hand, because it has protected you from premature unions, from counterfeit ties, from the kind of entanglements that would have distracted you from the mountain I called you to climb. And now, as you approach the summit, you will not ascend alone. You will not rise in silence. You will not walk in a destiny empty-handed. I am sending help. I am sending healing. I am sending harmony that cannot be touched by confusion. And I am doing it suddenly, when your back is turned, when your guard is down, when your heart is quietly resting in me and not in striving. So do not despise the dreams that keep whispering their names. Do not ignore the synchronicities, the moments that feel like déjà vu, the names you keep hearing, the numbers that repeat, the signs that arrive like feathers on your path. These are not coincidences. They're confirmations, echoes of what your spirit already knows, but your mind has struggled to believe. That heaven has not forgotten you, that love is not a myth, that your loneliness was not punishment. It was preparation for the kind of connection that only God could write. One that will outshine every false start and wipe away every tear you ever cried in private. So brace yourself, beloved, because what's coming is going to feel like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. And when it arrives, you'll know why I kept you waiting, why I pulled you away from what you thought you wanted. Because this love, this union, this divine connection was worth every second of loneliness. And Jesus, have never left your side. Even in the silence, I was speaking, and now I am shouting. This is your time.